In today's video, I'm going to teach you the easiest way to burn more fat, and I'm also, by virtue of doing this, going to teach you how to not mess up the keto diet. So, a very simple video today. We're going to talk about the fastest way to burn more fat. Now, there are some tricky things you could do. You could go, spend a bunch of time in some really cold water. It would shoot up your energy expenditure. You could do a ton of exercise. You could do that. But the simplest way, the easiest way to burn more fat is to lower your carbohydrates. So, simply, carbohydrates act as the lever via insulin that kind of determine which fuel source you are burning mostly. So what your body does is it has a certain amount of energy expenditure. Let's just, for simplicity's sake, we'll call it 2,000 calories per day. And you have an oxidative priority. You burn fuels kind of in different orders, right? So your body can't really store protein. Yes, it can synthesize some muscle protein, but if you give it excess protein, it doesn't do much with it. It's just going to oxidize the rest of it. So it takes that protein, it burns it away. Alcohol is even earlier, but I haven't put it on here. So protein first. Then next up, we have carbohydrates. Your body can only store, let's call it, 2,000 at best, probably more like 1,500 calories, a little bit in the liver, a bunch in the muscles, about 1,500 calories, typical person. So what it does is it'll store what it can as muscle glycogen, but then normally it's just going to burn what it's given. Particularly if you start to overeat, you can even, if you overeat carbs for long enough, you'll start to actually turn them into fat. It's possible how to do that. But basically, the amount of fat you're going to burn generally in a normal person is determined by how much fat you're eating. Well, no, it's determined by how much carbs you're eating. So the gap between what your protein and carbs are, that leftover space, that's how much fat you're going to burn. If you eat more fat than that, you'll store it. If you eat less, then that's what it'll do. But this amount of fat that you burn in a day is typically determined by how many carbohydrates. If you eat an extremely high carbohydrate diet, and you have very little room left at the end of the day, then you just won't burn much fat. Your body will continue to work on carbs and carbs and carbs because carbs are the body's fuel switch. This is the simplest way to burn more fat, is to lower your carbohydrates in a low carb diet, take them all the way down below 50, and you will go into a ketogenic diet, and that is pretty much the definition of burning more fat. You will be burning tons of fat. But here, in this case, you're also eating tons of fat. And so in this case, what we've got here is losing no weight because, you burn off the protein, burn off the carbs, and the fat balance is matched by what you're burning and eating. So this is what you're burning, and this is what you're absorbing from food. So you're in a ketogenic diet. But because you're eating roughly 2,000 calories of a ketogenic diet and you're burning roughly 2,000 calories, your fat balance is matched for the day. And yes, you're burning more fat, but you aren't losing more fat. And now, the easiest way to lose fat, not just burn more, but lose fat is like this. So this is what happens is when you do a well-formulated ketogenic diet, the carbs are low, the protein is sufficient, and then you've leveraged down your fats and you've eaten a sensible amount of fat, and what you've created here is a big old deficit, and that is body fat, and that is the one that you're after. So in order to burn more fat, the easiest way to burn more body fat is to create a big old deficit of somewhere between 500 to 1,000 calories a day, and it will take it off your body. And it's far more efficient time-wise than doing any exercise. It's just far more efficient. You just need to learn how to eat. Learn how to eat, how to create a deficit, and then over time, yes, it's great to add exercise and all this stuff, but the easiest way is simply to learn how to eat really, really filling meals with sensible macros, and that is the easiest way to burn more body fat. That's body fat, that's dietary fat. Make sure you know the difference, because remember, the only thing that's determining how much fat you're eating is how many carbs you're eating. But the thing that's determining whether you're losing or gaining fat mass, that's the calories at the end of the day. It is the balance between the calories in and the calories out. Yes, it's dynamic, but that is actually what is going to cause your fat loss. Whereas the carbs, if you lower the carbs, you are going to burn more body fat. You'll be a fat burning machine. But, whether you're going to lose fat, it'll depend. It will depend on your energy balance. All right, hope you enjoyed that. Kind of a sneaky video, but a good one. Check out my coaching offer if you'd like some help with this. Talk to you again.